This week's episode of Here's What I Don't Get is brought to you in part by Gabo's Grill on Wheels. Gabo's Grill on Wheels, the only food truck that has a picture of a pig on it and is a literal thing that I saw this week while driving around in St. Louis because, this is godforsaken's country. He just doesn't exist here. This is hell, and we're all trapped in it. And welcome back to Here's What I Don't Get, from north to south, east to west, the only intercontinental podcast to tackle all of life's toughest issues and the longest consecutively running podcast on the See You Next Tuesday podcast network. I am your host, Tab Burt, coming to you live from the most dangerous city in America, St. Louis, Missouri, and joining me from way down south of the equator, my friend, El Chaco.
Hola, me and Chata. Hey, man, it just feels like last week we were chatting on this show, right? Consecutive as can be, right?
It is absolutely. It doesn't matter that we've taken a break. We still hold the consecutive record of 351 episodes.
I like that. You can just like cement that in. It's locked in. Nobody's going to touch it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's impenetrable. And I don't even care if you add in like the Negro Leagues statistics like they're doing now in the Major League Baseball. There's still no longer running consecutive podcast in the See You Next Tuesday podcast. Syndicate? What do you call that? What is it?
Network.
Just a network?
Yeah.
Is it still a thing?
I might as well be. I don't know. It doesn't matter now. We can rest on our laurels. We set all the records. We did the best. We were the biggest podcast. We were huge. And then we decided to go off gracefully. And now we're like a true boomer. We're marching back out to play Glory Days. We're going to come out here and put, hit you with night moves as our encore because we have no business being on tour anymore. We're 97 and a half years old. We're being basically propped up against the amps, just coming out here and being like, it really pisses me off now.
Well, and to be fair, I think, I don't know if it's been longer that my my own show has been on hold because I got that strike from YouTube for our real controversial episode with the ex-Satanist high wizard guy, Zach King. And I've been going through all this stuff in my side that's just been kind of keeping that at bay. Like my mom came and visited, and then actually, was that the last episode we did together? When I was waiting
right
for my mom?
She came to town.
Yeah, that's right. Lots happened since then.
You and me both, buddy.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, why don't you bring us up to speed on you first?
There's as always, I have an NDA that I can't really go into too many details, but basically, so since the last time we recorded, which was, I don't know, February or March, it was before Easter, right? I've been still losing weight. You can probably tell I got a haircut. I cut off 14 inches of hair.
And that's from proper eating and nutrition and getting exercise and stuff. It's not like you've picked up a bad habit in the last little bit that has made you kind of shed pounds.
I'm not like eating Ozempic or gone anorexic. I'm just eating high protein, lots of vegetables. I've been eating a lot of stir fry. I've been eating a lot of chicken stir fry. Actually,
you had a tuna steak tonight.
I did have a tuna steak tonight, but Saturday night, Sunday night, I sat down on the couch a little loosey-goosey with my stir fry, and it was fresh out of the microwave and poured boiling hot stir fry sauce all over my stomach. So I have this big burn on my chest right now.
I have a burn on my lap from lunch today because my wife and I have been doing this thing where we're trying to get our collagen levels up, that whole anti-aging thing. And so we have we have ducks and we have all kinds of different animals on the farm. And so what we've been doing is we've been keeping the bones and then boiling a broth and then having that at lunchtime. Well, she heated it up real good and she put it in a mug and, dumb me. Cause usually I come in and my food's already cold. And so I just sipped it, ended up just searing the roof of my mouth. And then I didn't know what to do with it because I was like, sure as heck not going to swallow. So I spat it out, but it went on my lap. And then I had like a burning mouth and a burning lap. And so you and I need to be a lot more careful. We have an eating problem, but it's not the kind of eating problem that you might think.
Yeah. I found a protein powder that's collagen that is completely flavorless that I can mix into my coffee. Because now, so I went through phase one. Phase one was dumping fat for just burning off body fat through intermittent fasting and no sugar, extremely low carbs, low meal sizes. And then I kind of went into phase two in March, where I started working out to maintain my muscle mass. And I didn't do the fasting as much, but I was eating higher protein. Now I've hit phase three, and phase three is I want to bulk up and get like a little more muscular, which involves consuming a tremendous amount of protein, which is why I had tuna steaks tonight, for dinner. And I ate a lot of protein before anyway, but like now I'm really upping it. So I'm doing like protein shakes and supplements and stuff to try and like keep those protein levels high so that my body will build muscle. And it is working. Like my arms are more muscular than they've ever been. I've got like a little bit more of a chest.
We've been handling all that hot glass and stuff too. That's got to be.
Too. I've got forearms like Popeye. I mean, they are rock hard.
Well, I'm glad, because you're going to have to lift that big, heavy package that you're going to send me this week.
Yep.
down to Paraguay. I'm getting some official Tab glass and some books from St. Louis, the most dangerous city in the United States.
The books are not in there because I could not. They've been like at the front kiosk at the grocery store for the past 10 months, and then the one I go to buy them, and it's like kiosk is gone, just gone.
Like, what? Okay, they'll come again.
And speaking of, this is something that occurred to me this week. I was at the grocery store buying, just like a small supplemental, fresh vegetables and stuff to make dinner. I am 100% convinced that you could like drop the national body weight average by 10 or 15 pounds if you took all those fucking candy bars and sodas and chips and other like sweet snack bullshit and got it away from the fucking registers at all these places. Like,
well, they know why they put it there. It's all impulse buys, right?
And so you're like, oh, I did all my grocery shopping. I should reward myself with this gigantic fucking Hershey's candy bar and a Dr. Pepper. And so the place I go, you have to go through a veritable gauntlet of snack foods, and it's just like fucking Little Debbie's over here, and chips and candy and chocolate and all kinds of shit. And I'm just looking at that, and I'm seeing these fat people grab this shit off the rack and just throw it in their cart, and I'm like, that motherfucker's eating that on his drive home, and then gonna go sit on the sofa. There's 500 calories you're not gonna burn off, and I was dumbfounded that it never really occurred to me before how it's almost like predatory the way that they have made fatness a disease that is affecting America. And I don't know what the grocery store is like in Canada. I assume that's probably the same problem where they just cram that stuff right there at the final line. Like you do all the right things, you buy all the right vegetables, you don't buy all the salty snacks, and then you're like, oh, you know what? I deserve 24 ounces of pure diabetes.
Well, I mean, like the other thing is like I've been going down this deep rabbit hole of seed oils lately, and like we've been buying up. We bought up a bunch of big, huge bags of like just pure beef fat, and we're gonna render it down to make tallow. And I've been doing this rabbit hole dive on seed oils, and man, like it correlates with the obesity pandemic of like when seed oils were introduced at the beginning of the 20th century, right around like 1908, 1907. And they were originally not meant to be for consumption. They were meant for like lubricants for like motors and stuff. And so they used cottonseed oil because they did just like, what are we going to do with all this stuff? And so they were using this, and then they started marketing Crisco. And the thing is like, you start looking at these things, and like it gets real deep because all of a sudden you start seeing these, like, you see those like old videos from like the 70s or the 80s, and like people are like way more thin than now. I was joking about this with Sully over the weekend about like who
also looks like he's lost a bunch of weight,
a ton of weight, yeah, just by being here in Paraguay, by eating better food. but like he and I were talking about it. Like you see those old pictures of like freak shows or like circuses, and they'd have like the world's fattest man, and he's like what, like 450. You know, like ooh, he's
No,
gi-
in The
gigantic.
Simpsons, like in the late 80s, Homer was there's an episode where Homer gets so incredibly fat so he can work from home, and he weighs like 325 pounds.
I
Like
know.
that's comedically fat. And now I'm just like there are women on online dating apps that weigh 350 pounds. I'm just like, sweet Jesus. Sorry.
But I've been like grabbing packages now because like I will confess that I have an addiction. I'm not a sweets guy. I don't drink soda pop. I don't I don't eat chocolate bars. I don't eat candy. Like I've brought it before. I hate candy holidays for my kids because we just get like a ton of candy in the house. But like I love French fries. I love French fries. I love potato chips. I love fat and salt. But the thing is that I'm going to start trying to eliminate seed oils from my diet because I have like chronic inflammation. I have like tons of problems. I got sciatica, like it's crazy because of my work position and posture. But like, I'm thinking I'm going to go try to do this to completely eliminate seed oils or to the best of my ability. And it's hard. I'm going through and I'm reading all these ingredients in the back, and I'm getting used to like learning them in Spanish, like aceite vegetal and like grasa vegetal and aceite girasol and all this kind of stuff. And like I'm trying to go through this, and like you go to if I go to any restaurant or something like that, anything fried, you know, it's going to be fried in vegetable oil. And so I'm hoping like, cause like McDonald's was like famous for their French fries, and they had to like put all kinds of science into it to make it sort of taste the same when they removed beef tallow because there was complaints from like vegetarians and vegans. And so I don't I don't think I've had beef tallow fried anything since like 1990. And so I'm like really kind of excited about this. And you know, I have ducks. So like we've tried cooking things in like duck fat. Yeah, it's great. And then like, you know, we've got a pig that's like ready for slaughter like any day now. And so we're going to have a bunch of pig lard. And the thing is like I keep going down this rabbit hole, and you start realizing like, yeah, they started demonizing saturated fats. They started demonizing all these things. But like at the same time, these seed oils are just like piling on the linoleic acid in your body, like getting 5 times the amount that you should be like that is
that your body
in any
can
way
process.
normal.
Yeah.
And it throws off, like you get all these like free radicals and all this kind of stuff. It just totally messes up your system. And yet like we've been learning about stuff like how, for example, you read like, I don't know, you read the Bible, you read anything old, anything historic, you don't hear about sunburns. Apparently, sunburns might just be a new-ish thing. And you know, like I'm trying, like I live in a really hot place and we get a lot of sun. And so, you know, the thinking is like, hey, maybe if we up the collagen and reduce the seed oils, maybe we don't need to go down that road of constantly wearing sunscreen and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor, and this is probably going to get us taken down from YouTube again, but
I think it has more to do with like the melanin content in your skin. So like,
oh yeah, I had my zero melanin. There you go. Look at you.
You can't tell my farmer tan on YouTube, but you know, I will get a burn if I'm wearing a sleeveless shirt. I will get a burn midway up my bicep where it's normally covered, but I won't get it on my forearms because my forearms have slightly more melanin than my upper arms from years of sun exposure. So that's probably what it is. It's just that like we live our lives inside in the dark watching television, and then and we don't expose ourselves to sun a lot. And so
I've also been doing this deep dive on tobacco and nicotine, right? So I actually picked up like I had quit smoking a long time ago, but then I kind of picked up doing the cigar thing. And I started doing a little bit more of a deep dive on it. And like apparently like there's a lot we've been lied to about tobacco, certainly about secondhand smoke. And on top of that as well, So you look at it like the same thing went with like, the pandemic that we're not supposed to talk about or else we'll get jacked again here.
Mm-hmm.
But like the science behind the it causes heart disease, it causes strokes, it causes lung disease. Like you see those like the photos of the black smoker lung. That guy had cancer. Like it had nothing to do with the fact that yes, he had lung cancer. Did he get it from this tobacco smoke? We don't know. Because you can get non-smokers with lung cancer and their lungs look exactly the same. And you talk to morticians and they can't tell if somebody was a smoker or not. And then when they go and they do these studies on these things, and they're studying different people from different like social status, and then like you're not factoring in like stress, like a lot of it could just be like they are smokers, but they also have like a very high stress life. You've got things like alcohol, you've got things like other factors, but we keep lumping them onto cigarettes or onto tobacco. And the question then you have to ask yourself is, they say like this is a smoker's disease. Name one thing that you can get just from being a smoker that you can't get elsewhere by being a non-smoker. Right? Like you can actually take on so many more of these chemicals just by living in a city, just from like the exhaust from cars that so anyways, I'm not going to, that's not my issue tonight, but
yeah.
But
well, speaking of issues,
it's crazy because I just feel like, I know it sounds really dumb to constantly be a contrarian about everything, but like we are getting lied to about everything all the time. What else have we been lied to about for the last 50 years? So
no way to tell. Well, you want to jump into your issue then this week?
Yeah, sure, man. Here's what I don't get. Hedonism. Now, I'm not sure if anybody knows what the term means. I mean, I'm just going to clarify it. I mean, you probably do know, but like basically what it means is to prioritize pleasure and joy from one's actions over anything else. Right? So to basically put the importance of your happiness and your joy or your pleasure above everything else. And it was funny because we had this over the weekend there. You had I was mulling over a few different ways to broach this topic. I originally was thinking maybe going down the road of like saying libertarianism or polyamory or I had a few different options on this one. But like Trump went and did the Libertarian Party convention and got booed, but like he made his point, and I think it was clearly strategic. It wasn't like an error. It wasn't like he was actually running for the Libertarian Party candidacy. But the thing is that libertarians will claim that as long as there's no harm done to anybody else, like the whole non-aggression principle, that there's no harm, no foul. And I disagree. And the reason why I disagree is because, first of all, there's a lot of things that feel good in the now that are going to do a considerable amount of harm to you in the future, right? Like I get paid every month, or sorry, every 3 months, and I could just blow all of that on things I find fun. I could go buy a new quad. I could buy all types of stuff, but I don't, because the thing is I have to factor in that present Chaco, his actions are going to impact future Chaco. And so the thing is that, like, I've done this before where I often will think in terms of that, like, am I going to be apologizing to my future self for being a dick now? Or am I going to be thanking myself in the past for maybe denying myself something in the past that is now benefiting me in the future? And I started to look into this, and like there's a lot of similarities between libertarianism and straight up Satanism, right? So for example, there was this real evil character back in the the turn of the 20th century, and his name was Aleister Crowley. And so a lot of people maybe know of him, maybe they don't. If you look at the cover of the Beatles album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, he's like right there. And he was kind of like the kind of the godfather of not neo-paganism, but neo-Satanism, neo-Luciferianism. And basically, in his teachings, he basically said there's one rule, and that is do as thou willst. That is the sum of the law. And you can even see like Jay-Z has that on like some of his shirts and stuff, like do as thou willst. And the thing is that it's so oversimplified that like people can go down these roads that are super harmful, not just to them, but to everybody around them. And it's this whole thing of like, if it feels good, do it. And, you know, we've talked about being on this See You Next Tuesday network, and like, you know, the derivation of where that all came from and who, and that's one person that definitely lives a hedonistic lifestyle and glorifies it and will defend it. And the thing is that, you know, if there's plenty of different saints that have said that you become a slave to your vices, right? So whatever your sins are, whatever your vices are, you become a slave to them. And you can see it in people where they will have this major character flaw that makes them feel good in the now. It's killing them, but they will defend it to the death. Like they will defend it to the death. And it's really, it's unfortunate because you can see it. I mean, you know, going back to like this whole thing, like, oh, if you got two consenting adults and stuff like that, I was looking into like, you know, this trend of open marriages and people that are going into open marriages. And it's so unfortunate because like they never work, right? Like, I mean, I was looking into like celebrities that went into them. So for example, when Ashton Kutcher was married to Demi Moore, they had opened up their marriage. And then of course there was miscommunication. There was, you know, misinterpreted rule breaking and all this kind of stuff like that. And it fell apart. You look at Megan Fox when she was married to Brian Austin Green, and they opened up and it just fell apart. It like, if you look in the stats on this thing, it like never works. It never works. And it's like, yeah, it feels good in the now, but like, what about later? Who cares about later? No. Later matters. Later matters. Especially in these marriages where it's like maybe kids are involved, maybe kids are going to learn from you and kids are going to glean this stuff from you. And it is incredibly damaging, but it's like, I hate when I hear somebody say like, you know, you do what you do what you want, do what you feel good. Like, I'm not going to judge your choices. Yeah, I'm gonna, because the thing is that like, you know, if you're making terrible choices and I'm your friend, then wouldn't it be more friend-like to call your friend out on it, to try to help them out, to try to get them out of that? I mean, you know, this is the thing that is rampant. We have a nihilistic society. We are suffering from moral decay. You know, it's the whole thing of like, you know, if nobody sees, no, you know, nothing happened, or, you know, it's only me who's doing any harm. Well, yeah, but what if we need you? What if we need you for something else? What if we depend on you doing well and we don't want to see you fall apart? You know, going back to the smoking thing, like this whole the warnings and the extra taxes and stuff that are thrown on there, and then the excuses is like, well, they weigh more on the healthcare system.
Yeah.
Do they really? I don't know. Do they? I mean, I don't even trust healthcare statistics anymore because we're probably getting lied to about everything. But I don't know, man, because like, it's this whole thing where we're like, oh, well, at least they're having fun. Well, at least he's having a good time. He'll come back around. She'll come back around. Will they? I mean, you know, there's such a thing as spiraling. and you want to step in, you want to say something, and some of these people will go, it's like that whole It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia thing when like Frank, the Danny DeVito character, is like, I'm getting old and I'm gonna get real weird with the rest of my life. I'm gonna get real weird with it. It's like, please don't, please don't. Like, I mean, there's a reason we had shame. Like, we should bring back shame. Shame was good. Did we talk about bullies before? Didn't we talk about bullies on another thing?
I am a big fan of bullying. I think bullying
Right.
works.
So like, it's like this whole thing we bring up about all these people that are in the how can I get centered on this camera? There we go. We talk about these people that are in line at the grocery store, and they're not, like, nobody's shaming them. Actually, it was funny because didn't South Park just recently make fun of like Ozempic and
yeah, I think there's a new
Lizzo
special out.
And there's a really good line in there, which was basically rich people get Ozempic and poor people get like body acceptance or fat, body positivity. And it's like, man, no, like, don't you want to say something to your friends and just say like, hey man, like, I don't like where things are going. So yeah, man, have you experienced this? Have you seen people go down that road of excusing bad behavior?
Yeah. So actually, at the end of last year, I got involved with this woman who was probably definitely had a lot of hedonistic behavior, and part of it was her situation with her family and needing to be a caregiver for a parent that's like dealing with health issues and whatnot. But like it basically like came to a head at the beginning of this year, and I I wanted something that wasn't just indulging on the momentary now, and it all kind of fell apart, and it was pretty depressing for me. But now, in hindsight, it is like I'm glad of it because
Right.
it's I learn. I am a learning robot. I make mistakes all the time, but I usually
You
don't
got to
make
learn how to
the same mistake
lose before you
twice.
can learn how to win, right?
Yeah.
Like, I get that.
So, hopefully, long term, that makes me better at recognizing those kinds of situations and those kinds of patterns, and not putting myself out there for a person that isn't going to value me in that same way. And so, it sucked, but it is what it is. It's over now, and uh, everything's coming up tab these days, as my
Well, you're
glass blowing
looking good,
partner
my
said the
friend.
other
You're looking
day.
good, and everybody in the comments seems to think so as well. So
Yeah, Captain Carl is right though. I'm using an AI filter to make myself look this way. I'm actually still I'm huge. I'm like I
So
don't
you're
even
not
go
on
out at night.
Ozempic. On the record, you are not on Ozempic.
No, no drugs, no drugs of any
No
kind.
drugs.
I started doing creatine because that like helps build muscle and
Ah,
stuff. But like
I loved
creatine and
creatine
protein
back in like
powder.
1998 or 97 or 98 when like baseball had those like home run races between like
Hmm.
Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa, and we're getting told like, oh yeah, he's just on creatine. It's like, sure he is.
All it
I
does
don't
is
care. More dingers.
your body uses creatine to build muscle, and so just by keeping the levels up, it makes your muscle recovery go faster, and it retains water in your muscles, which makes them then look
Where
bigger.
can you
That's
get natural creatine, like in food?
I don't know. Your body creates it. Your body
Right.
creates creatine. It just
I
creates a
bet you
really
it's in
small amount.
pigs. I bet
Yeah.
you it's in pork product or something like that. But
I don't know. You get it
yeah.
in big plastic tubs at the store. That's that's where you get it in nature. You just hunt down those plastic tubs and you spear them.
Well, I saw in the comments people wanted us to talk about a certain topic that's pertinent to now. This is my indirect way of addressing it. Clearly, um, it's a very sad situation. We wish the best for our friends, and we want to support them. And I don't like it when you get called a concern troll or somebody mocks you for saying we got to pray for somebody or like let him do his thing. It's like, no, there's other people involved here that need that person to get back on track, and you don't want to see your friend go down a dark tunnel and
Yeah.
you want to say something about it. And I think that going down the road of hedonism, like that's almost like a choice. It's to a degree, it's an ethos,
Hmm.
right? Like it's like I'm gonna do what makes me feel good, and to a degree, that is borderline. I mean, that's sociopathic behavior. It can
Well,
be.
I think
Go
that
ahead.
is like society wide. That's become more and more of the norm. Is doing taking the easy route on a lot of stuff, and that's why there are fatty foods at the front of the grocery store, and the meat is at the back. The stuff that's actually good for you is at the back. Uh,
Mhm.
that's why it's you can get a gigantic soda that is full of high fructose corn syrup, and if you want like
And seed
fresh
oils.
fresh
Yeah,
squeezed juice, you have to go to like a specialty store.
pretty much.
And so like our whole society is built around convenience that it is extremely difficult to get like a salad that is just like leaves and maybe a little bit of protein and some croutons. But you can go get a greasy chicken nugget package with fries that's been fried and it's all processed in 6 minutes at basically every the corner in your city.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And the other, I mean, so that's a crazy thing that happened. It was me a few weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago now. I was rushing between work and a sale. I was selling some glass art, and I needed to man the register as like part of the way that I could sell was I had to man the register for a period of time. So I'm trying
Mhm.
to go between the two places, and I didn't throw my lunch in the car. And I was like, that's fine. I'll just stop somewhere and grab like a chicken strip meal and, you know, uh, the small size of the Diet Coke, and, it'll be fine. It'll be like fatty today, but I'll be back on track tomorrow. No big deal. And so I stopped at, I want to say like Freddy's or somewhere, just like some fast food place. And I got this chicken strip basket, and I ate it while driving, and by the time I got to where the sale was, I had rock gut, just awful, and I
Oh yeah.
felt bad for the rest of the day with just all that, like, grease in my stomach. And what's crazy is I used to eat fast food all the fucking time, like, every other day, every day maybe, I don't know. Never affected me at all. It was just nothing but grease and fat all day long. But you, like, get off of that train for a little while, you get off of that, like, convenience, and now it's like, and I was almost disappointed with myself. I'm like, I can't eat like the fast, easy thing between things now. Like this is the life choice that I made. And so yeah, that sucks. That it sucks that I've like lost this convenience, but like when I look at it long term and go, well,
Absolutely.
look at the progress you've made by not doing that for so long. So just keep not doing that. And so I just need to come up with better strategies for those days that I forget a lunch and not revert back to that easy thing of, oh, just get a McDonald's hamburger, just get like a quick trip sandwich and a 45-ounce soda.
Mhm.
And that's what our society is. There's a huge push anymore with like, and we got to legalize marijuana so that we can smoke and be high all the time. And like, and I drink all the time. I love alcohol, but it's like it's baked into our society. There's so many activities where it's just, oh, you go to the baseball game and you get beers, you go
Mhm.
to this public event and you get wine, you go to this thing and you drink, you
Yep.
know uh and then like marijuana was almost this uh floodgate that once we started legalizing it for medical use and recreational use in different places, then it became like Oregon's just decriminalize all of it. Do meth, do fentanyl, do whatever you want. We're not going
Yeah,
to
it's
press any
what they do in
charges against
Canada.
you. And
Yeah.
it's like, this stuff will kill people. Like I was in Seattle a few months ago, and there was this woman methed out on the street, one tit hanging out, just like the Walking Dead. And at like 3 o'clock on a Tuesday or something. Just the middle of the work week in this industrial park, just high out of her mind, not wearing enough clothing. And I mean, I live in the most dangerous city in America, and I don't see that every day. So
Well,
I was stunned.
the see, and there's this other portion of it, which is people don't practice self-denial enough. You know, like, so as you know, like we don't eat meat on Fridays. We eat fish. We don't eat meat on Fridays. And a lot of times we're like traveling on those Fridays, and it's a pain in the butt to try to find something. During Lent, we are fasting every single day except Sunday. So, like when we're out of the house, we're in Asuncion, like we have to make sure, okay, so we're going to go and eat, and we have to take the family. The kids aren't fasting, we are. And so there's a specific couple of restaurants. There's like a type of restaurant here where like it's like a buffet, but they weigh your plate. And we'll go through there and just like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. No meat. Okay. All right. I got some of the, there's some avocado salad. I'm going to do this and do that. And it's like you're eating it and you're going, okay, this is not what I would have chosen if I was free to choose whatever I wanted. But the reason I'm denying myself this is because I'm doing this for God, and it's also good for you. It's good for you to sometimes you got to say no to yourself. And so there's some times like where, okay, so here in Paraguay, there is also an obesity problem. And there's a lot of people, and you walk around, you see them, and they got these just giant guts. There's this thing my wife and I like to kind of point out when we're driving, and it's like on a particularly hot day, a guy with a big belly will cool himself off by like rolling up his shirt at the top of his belly, just exposing his belly the whole time. And it's just like a thing. They'll be drinking beer and they'll be doing everything like that. But like so there was this thing called the Triple Alliance War. It was around the same time as the U.S. Civil War, where basically Paraguay was up against Brazil and Argentina and Uruguay, and they just kicked the crap. Yes, they are all big Coke drinkers. Yeah, absolutely. They give it to babies. It's crazy. But like this war wiped out 90% of the male population in Paraguay. Like it was decimating, and the 10% that was left were all under the age of 12. And so what ended up happening afterwards is such a disruption on the society left it in a very matriarchal setting. So you had basically way too many women, not enough men, and the men that would help them to repopulate would be just drifter kind of guys, and they would all kind of share and let that guy kind of have his way, and then off he went, and they would have to kind of work together. And the thing about female psychology is this: the reason why they gossip, the reason why they do a lot more gossip than others is it's a way of figuring out information about other people in the society, so you can kind of know who's safe and who's not. I'm not sure if you can hear my dog barking, but apparently I got somebody nearby. And the problem too is that it's face to face. It's like the whole thing of like, when women do this thing where they're like frenemies, where they'll like talk nice to each other, and then like the second that like, oh, Becky's such a bitch, like they'll just do this thing where they just like cut their friend down when they're gone. That permeated into Paraguayan society so much so that it's a society that doesn't like the word no. So if you get invited to if you invite somebody to a dinner party, they will automatically say yes. Even if they know full well that it's their cousin's wedding and they're going to be in the wedding party that weekend, they'll still tell you yes, because it's socially less acceptable to say, I can't make it, than to say yes and not show up. And they don't give kids bedtimes. So a lot of kids don't, not all, but like a glaring majority do not have a set bedtime for their children. I remember we got invited to a dinner party and we're like, it needs to, we're going to go, but like we have to call there early and we're going to have to leave early because our kids go to bed at 8:30. And so, and they're like, what do you mean? And I was like, that's their bedtime. They're like, what's a bedtime? It's like, well, it's a regular time so your kid can get to sleep. Anyways, okay. It's a society that doesn't say no. And so we are now living in a society that doesn't say no enough. And I mean, a lot of it has to do with fatherlessness and families that are totally thrown out. But I just can't. You need to learn how to say no to yourself. You need to know why you're saying no to yourself. Like I like that you brought it up, like about even the fasting. Like people are doing like fasting as part of their like health routine.
Dude,
It's a good idea.
When I was telling people about the fasting that I was doing, which was very, I mean, I was doing like, I was doing incremental fasting. So I would do like 1 day and then I would eat, and then I would do 2 days and then I would eat, and then I would do 3 days and then I would eat, and then I would do 1 day. And like, and so, and sometimes there would be more days in between, right? But when I told people that, where I'd be like, yeah, I'm doing a 7 and 2 hour fast, they would just be like, are you dying? No, I'm choosing not to eat because
Yeah.
I weigh 220 pounds, and the way, as once I've not eaten for 18 hours and my blood glucose drops to a certain to below the level where it
You
can
can
fuel my
handle it.
body, your body
Yeah.
goes, I need to start burning fat to stay alive. And the longer I can keep that up, the more weight I will
Yeah.
lose. And
You get into ketosis. Yeah.
yeah, and so the trick was to just do that. And again, I wasn't like, I had a long-term plan. I wasn't just crash dieting to bring it back up again. I was crash dieting to get to a point where I could then start working out to
Yes.
maintain a level. And now I'm working out to grow again. But like trying to explain all that to people is just like, oh, I can't believe it. You must be starving. Like, yeah, I am. I'm extremely hungry. I'm going to eat a giant meal in 2 days, but I'm going to eat a giant meal that's like chicken breast and vegetables and a lot of filler and no sugar and no carbs. And like, I'll be very full, and my body will like take that and turn it into muscle instead of turning into stored fat.
Well, the other thing is you bring up a good point about that, about like other people, right? So other people will be enablers for all kinds of stuff, all kinds of stuff. Like I'm still, I'm still kind of in mourning here. I have a longtime colleague who just passed away a couple of weeks ago, and it sucks because the thing is that I know he struggled with addiction like big time, and he has a kid, or he had, but like the kid's still going. And I still remember, like, I mean, I went to Vegas with him back when I did Hot Choco. The last episode I did of Hot Choco was right before I went to Vegas with him. And I remember like he was upset. He was upset with me because we went to Vegas to meet with a client and go look at a like zinc mine. It was the most boring thing, but we had to like drive through the deserts of Nevada to go to this zinc mine. And I remember the time because we had a baby at home. My daughter was still just like totally not sleeping through the night. And I arrived in Vegas, got everybody to their hotels, and I went out for dinner with him and the group. And then he wanted to go out and party, and I was like, I hate to say this, but I'm going to take advantage of this and go get a full night's sleep. And he was like, you're in Vegas to sleep? And I was like, yes, I'm in Vegas to sleep. And we were supposed to pick up the client the next morning. We were supposed to meet them for breakfast. It was a group of them. And I got up the next morning. I was the driver, and I waited, and he didn't meet me down at the lobby. And I tried calling his room, no answer. I didn't have any way of contacting the client. So I knew we were either going to not make it, like no show for this thing that they paid for us to fly out there for, or we were, going to have to take our licks. I finally got a hold of him. He finally showered, finally came down. We showed up 45 minutes late for this meeting, had our breakfast, drove out, and I was amazed by the guy because, like, the thing about addicts is they're really good at hiding it sometimes. Sometimes they're really good at hiding it. And so we showed up at this thing. The people were pissed at first, but he was like so good at it that he like charmed them back on board, and we went and did the trip. And it was like searing hot, and he was like he's like a day walker, so he burns easily. We're out in this thing. He's constantly trying to rehydrate because I think he got maybe like 45 minutes of sleep or something. And we go through the whole thing, and then we had to drive through the desert all the way back. And we're driving all the way through the desert back, and we finally get to some town and pull over, and I go to get some water, and he goes to get some water, but he also gets this giant bottle of like sparkling wine and proceeds to just drink it like the water. And like he was dying on me before, and then he takes that in, and then he was like right back with it. I never really been around alcoholism, but he was like right on top of it. He was like back refreshed. Everything was normal again. It was like the weirdest thing I'd ever seen. And like later on, so we ended up going into partnership for a company. And the thing is that what I do requires a lot of like rule following with the securities commissions. Like you can't put something out too early. You can't put something out without a disclaimer. There was all kinds of stuff like that. And he was sloppy, but at a certain point he decided he was going to get clean. And so I remember he was getting clean. And I remember this really well because I had to go out and we had to go and meet with this potential client, and that potential client was a partier. And I remember him taking me aside and being like, I need you to jump on this grenade. I can't drink. This guy needs one of us to go along with him or he's not going to take the deal. So you need to drink with him. That was in 2017. It was the last time I ever got drunk. And the last time I ever got drunk was on that trip. And I still remember it because the thing is that like the other guy was giving him a hard time because they used to party together. Mm-hmm. And then we tried our best to like keep him clean and get him on the thing, but he just had so many enablers, and all of his friend circle were all guys he did drugs with and all guys he did all kinds of stuff with. And so what saddens me is I saw this case because like the company that we worked with, that we were partners on, he actually offered me that partnership on the way back through the desert because he was like, you stepped up for me, I'm going to step up for you. I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse. And I remember I was working with him on that, and at a certain point I was like, I can't do this. Like it's too freewheeling. I can't do this. Like my career is going to suffer. And after I left, the same company ended up getting nailed by the Securities Commission. And just recently I was working with my ongoing client now, and we had to kind of add this new disclaimer and add a couple of things in. I was like, oh, when did they change the rules? And he's like, oh yeah, they just changed it like the beginning of April. So I went to go and look up when and why and how. And then sure enough, it was referenced to the case for that company that I was with him with. And so I went back to my client and I was like, oh man, that's crazy. Small world. Like that was like KJ's company. And he goes, oh yeah, he died. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you didn't hear he died like last week. I was like, no, I didn't hear this. This is like literally the first time I'm hearing. They're like, yeah, it's really sad. He said it's like, his ex was trying to contact him to, because setting up for a visit with his daughter, and he wasn't picking up. And a day went by and it was not normal for him. So another day went by and she contacted his landlord to come and check. And sure enough, they opened it up and there he was, dead on the floor, died alone. And it's like, like, I'm sorry, but like Dick Masterson is a kind of guy I'd be like, oh man, he went out hard. He went out the way, he was doing it the way he liked it. It's just like, no, bro, he left a daughter behind and he totally went out the wrong way. And he was younger than me. And like, it's freaking tragic. And, it's, and like, I know he went down this hedonism path. Like, part of the reason him and his ex broke up is because they went into thruples and started like having, like affairs and having like opening up and like paying for prostitutes and doing all this kind of stuff. And it's just like, man, like just the worst. And so, going back to my issue of hedonism, it's like, man, like what a terrible ethos. What a terrible, stupid, avoidable ethos. And I don't get it. I don't get why people fall into that trap. I don't know why you don't see it as a trap. I don't know why you think that it's cool. And I don't know why you would encourage others. And I do see enablers all around, not just friends, but society, that just is enabling people for whatever. We're seeing it with this rainbow parade, and we're seeing it with like all kinds of stuff where it's like, if it feels good, do it. If your kid wants hormones, give it to them. It's insane. And like, man, I don't know how we're going to survive this if like this plague of hedonism doesn't freaking roll back a bit, because like it just has to. So
yeah, we'll have the cultural change. It'll probably take another world war, but it's
well,
coming.
and the sad part too is like when somebody you think has hit rock bottom, and then instead of actually like having an ounce of humility, their demons kick in and they start lashing out and they start defending themselves and denying themselves and doing all this kind of stuff. It's just crazy. So, I don't know. Neon Ghost, you're asking your mom. Are we asking about?
No, I think that's
tabs
a
or
conversation
mine?
happening in a conversation.
Oh, sorry. All right. But it's just it's sad, and you know who you are. I doubt you're watching this. I doubt you're listening, but you know who you are. I'm still praying for you, and I really, really want you to get back on track. And please, please, please shut out the enablers. Look at what you've done, and get your shit together, please. It's killing me to see this. So, well, that's my issue.
Great, good issue. Well, that brings us to Miller episode, which means it's time for.
This fucking episode is brought to you in part by the Brigada News Network. Definitely not fake news.
And boy, do we have some news today. You're not on online dating, of course, because you're married.
Yeah.
But you know about
not into polyamory yet.
Yeah, you know about the online dating stuff, right? Like you've heard it through the cultural osmosis.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah, I mean, I mean, look, I've been married since 2010, so online dating was around prior to me meeting my wife, but it was not to the degree that it is now.
So, have you heard of Bumble? Have you heard that brand before?
Yeah, isn't that the like female-led one where they like the women have to do all the stuff?
Message first, which then they've been sued because of that. There's like a class action lawsuit against them because it's discriminatory.
Who sued them?
A bunch of men that. But also they've changed the way Bumble works now, where the woman can now just be like, I don't want to do it, and then foist it upon you to be the one to message first, which is like the antithesis of the whole idea. Anyway, Whitney Wolfe Herd is one of the founders of Bumble, and she's talking about what is going to be the new digital hellscape that men will have to deal with in the future of online dating. She is saying that online dating is going to be your digital concierge is going to conversate with the other person's digital concierge and get all of the small talk out of the way so that you can actually be paired with someone. Now, number one, I don't believe this. I don't believe that this will work the way that she thinks it will, because A, she founded a platform that doesn't fucking work on her own. And two, what I think will end up happening is if you want to talk to the real person, they'll end up creating like a digital subscription model where you pay $100 a year so that you can actually text the person instead of their digital concierge, and it'll just all be digital concierges. And so
only
now
the rich people get the date.
There's going to be so many layers for men to jump through before they can even talk to a woman. And then women will still have the fucking audacity to go out there and be like, all men are trash and online dating doesn't work. Like, you have 600,000 million likes over there and you got your digital fucking concierge combing through them going like, if he's not over 7.5 feet tall and has a job that pays $100,000 and he's muscular and all this dumb shit. Meanwhile, you are 5'2", you weigh 230 pounds and you live with your fucking parents. You are not a catch, my friend.
And your fatherless child.
Yeah, and kids, like, women's brains are so totally scrambled by this online dating stuff, and now they're just like building more and more tools to make it harder and harder for men to deal with it. And even then, the other problem with these online dating platforms is fundamentally they will not work, because if if they let you match with someone, they lose 2 potential customers.
True.
So, like, people have been saying in the comments, I look very good. My online dating stuff, tons of likes. Can I match with any of them? Fuck no. Will not show them to me because I'm not fucking paying for any of this shit. So it's just like, this is a pointless endeavor if my likes aren't shown to women that I like, and they're not, the women that like me aren't shown to me. There's no way for this to work because I'm not paying $17 a month for your fucking stupid platform. And I'm certainly not paying for one where you're going to give women the first shot to then just fucking foist the responsibility back onto me. Fuck off and die. And then you're going to create some AI chatbot in front of it. Women are fucking, and men too, are doing these AI face lists of their photos. To make themselves look better so that then it's even more of a shock when you show up and she weighs 300 pounds. You're just like, what the hell?
Oh, they got rid of the angles. I remember back in the day, it was like all of the angles.
Yeah. Right? Well, now you get your angle just right. And then you run it through a filter and it makes you like a lot skinnier and better looking. It's insane. It is insane what is going on these dating apps. And the fact that this woman is like part of the problem and thinks that she has it all fucking solved, where the AI is going to do all the dating for us. It's just out of your mind. You are out of your mind.
Well, this is the thing too, is like, it's so scary. I don't know if you've seen that like graph of like dating or where people are meeting their significant others. And like, it used to be like through friends or through work or through school. And that's just going down and everything's online and people are complaining and nobody's happy and nothing's being solved and everything's getting worse. And it's just like, then you had the Me Too thing for a while. So every guy's like scared of reaching out or doing anything. And like, I remember back in the day, before I met my wife, I was living in Calgary, and there was, because of the oil industry in Calgary, the male to female ratio is skewed, right? It was skewed. And like you had to make like 80 grand a year just to get like a hello. And I remember I would fly out to Vancouver for concerts, and I go out there, and because like going back to the whole, like, my topic or before, or when we were talking about like, you got to learn how to lose before you can learn how to win. Like, you don't gain. If AI is stepping in and doing all this work for you, you're not learning how to charm someone. You're not learning how to like win somebody over. And you're certainly not learning how to like take rejection properly and like learn from it. So I would go out to Vancouver, and Vancouver was famously high for female to male ratio. And that was even including the fact that like Vancouver had an extremely high population of male homosexuals. So like they would count the single men that were in the homosexual community in the grand scale male community. So you go out to the bars, you go to the clubs or something, and it was just like, it was fish in a barrel, man. It was crazy. And I remember I'd go out there and I'd chat some people up, or chat up some ladies. And it was like easy. It was so easy, because the thing is like, none of the men there were used to it. They just like, they were so like meek and like, I'm not effeminate, right? Like afraid of doing something that's scary or hard.
Girly men, as would say. Yeah.
So like when I met my wife, it was great, because like I remember we met at a karaoke birthday party, and I remember I walked in with my friends, and that was me and my two friends, and we walk into a room, and there's just like a whole bench filled with girls, and then like two dudes, and the dudes were looking at us like angrily, because like, we were just skewing the ratio. And I just remember just like walking in and going, I'm gonna sit next to her. And that ended up being my wife. And like, and that's the way, because I was like, I'm not going to screw this up. I'm going to have a good time, and I'm going to make sure that everybody has a good time. Not like a hedonistic good time. I'm going to have a good time and make sure that, like I'm going to be myself, and rather than be this fake AI version that's, fake AI lyrics and fake AI song, like, I don't know if you've seen this recently, but like, there's a bunch of musicians that are freaking out right now. Have you been seeing this?
Oh, yeah.
And they have a right to freak out.
Yeah.
They're done. Like, And like Udio just came out, and like you can make it like a whole song, and 11 Labs, which I used to get fake celebrity voices for my ad before for Here's What I'll Get. They're coming out with like one, and they put out a song, and it's like totally like something you'd hear on the radio, and it's actually pretty good. And the thing is like it's mechanic, like it's set to be just perfect in different ways, like the notes hit, but then they also wobble it a bit like you would do with autotune, because the thing that it's learning off of is autotune songs that we basically been like inundated with since like 2001. And like, man, like we're getting to the point where we're never going to know what is real. Like, you know, like you're going to meet a person and you're going to be like, you know, like the amount of catfishing that's going to go on.
Yeah, it's going
this
through
kind
the
of
roof.
thing is going to be through
the roof, my friend. And
Uh-huh.
until you meet a woman in person, and even then, might be a Terminator robot.
Or a dude.
also a possibility.
Yeah. So,
Well,
good story.
Another group that we hate are rich people. Orcas attacked and sank a boat in the Strait of Gibraltar last week, prompting Spanish officials to issue a warning to sailors that in case they ever encounter one of the giant sea mammals. On Sunday, orcas sank a 10-meter-long boat with 2 passengers aboard. The passengers were able to notify authorities in time and were rescued by an oil tanker that was nearby. It sank.
God bless those oil tanker men.
Cape Spartel in Promontory in Morocco near the entrance to the Strait of Gibraltar, a channel that connects the Mediterranean Sea to the Atlantic Ocean between Spain and Africa. The country's Ministry of Transport and Sustainable Mobility prepared a list of things to do in case boats or yachts meet a pack of killer whales at the wrong time. Don't go near the side of the boat. If the whales try interacting with the boat, don't stop the boat or turn off the motor. Turn towards coastal or shallow waters. Report to officials even if you don't take damage. So, yeah, I for one am totally fine with rich people and their yachts getting sunk by killer whales. I think that's cool as shit.
Well, that reminds me of like, wasn't there like a meme before where it was like they showed like a headline and it was like killer whales were sinking like refugee rafts.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
yeah, they line up and they create this wave and they hit boats side on and flip them over. It's awesome.
And they're like, do you have anything to say for that? And he's like, F Nakers. So
yeah. Did you had a news story this week, right?
I did. And this will get us bounced again, but I'm quoting the Pope. This is coming from the Telegraph. Pope Francis, sorry for homophobic slur. The pontiff said there was too much faggotry in seminaries. Italian newspapers reported. So Pope Francis issued an apology on Tuesday over his reported use of a gay slur in a closed-door meeting with Italian bishops last week. The Pope never intended to offend or express himself in homophobic terms, and he extends his apologies to those who felt offended by the use of the term, reported by others, the Vatican said in a statement. During a meeting with more than 250 bishops last week, the 87-year-old pontiff was said to have used an offensive term while expressing his opposition to homosexual men joining training colleges for priests, even if they committed to celibacy. I'm not going to say this very often, but based Francis. Just like based. You've got these scandals.
I did not think that this was a real story.
It's a real story.
Yeah. I was like,
yeah,
no way.
According to 2 Italian newspapers, Francis said there was already too much, quote unquote, Frocchigiani. I gotta have to learn how to pronounce that properly, and incorporate it in the lexicon.
Languages.
Yeah, using an offensive Roman term which translates as faggotry. Hey, wow. It's so funny though, because it's like, man, like Pope Francis is from Argentina. And Argentina is known for an ethos called Peronism. So if you know of like Juan Perón or Eva Perón, don't cry for me or Argentina. Mm-hmm. Juan Perón was famously kind of two-faced. Like he'd say one thing to one group of people, like he'd have the communists in and he'd like make them happy and send them off. And then he'd have the capitalists there and the anti-communists come in and he'd make them leave like happy. And he has this way of like making, this group happy and this group happy. It's like we just had, like, I think it was like Sunday or just this weekend, Pope Francis was interviewed on 60 Minutes and was like throwing trads and conservatives under the bus. And then we got this. So I don't even know what to make of it. That is a true story.
Well, I have one last news story here. This is from Washington, D.C. Now we all know, well, Chaco may not know this because he doesn't live in America, but there's a lot of stuff these days that's a threat to our democracy. And yes, democracy is one of the things we hold absolutely dear. That's why when all of those terrible, terrible terrorists went on a self-guided tour of the Capitol, they absolutely had to be destroyed and hunted down and their families and their businesses ruined.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But
protect that democracy.
I got one. I don't even kind of remember hearing about this. This is a year old. This news story. A 20-year-old. This is the conclusion. But anyway, a 20-year-old Indian national living in the U.S. as a permanent resident has pled guilty to attacking the White House last year with a rented truck with the intent to replace the democratically elected government with a dictatorship fueled by the ideology of Nazi Germany. Sai Varshith Kandula of St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, your people.
Why are you throwing us under the bus?
Your people.
He's an Indian national on a permanent residency card. Don't throw him in with us. This is ridiculous.
I'm surprised they told you he was an Indian national and didn't come up with some kind of jolly euphemism.
Like St. Louis man, crazy St. Louis man when going into the on May 22nd of last year, he crashed a rented truck into the White House perimeter in an attempt to gain access to the White House. He bought a one-way ticket, commercial flight from St. Louis to Washington on the 22nd, rented a pickup truck, and then stopped for gas and drove that thing into the side of the barriers. He then got out of the car and pulled out a Nazi flag that was brand new and fresh and clean. Like apparently, I mean, obviously a guy that is out of his mind.
Oh, we have to worry about Nazis coming back because that's like the biggest threat of all. They're the ones causing all the disproportionate crime in the country, right?
I gotta wonder, like, man, this really didn't get a lot of traction, as much traction as a bunch of grandmas standing around with their walkers and like taking a podium and shit. Well, this guy was like the real deal. He was ready to,
that was Coulter's Law, my friend. That was Coulter's Law. Have we talked about Coulter's Law?
I don't know if we have on the show.
So Coulter's Law is the longer it takes for you to hear the ethnicity of the culprit, the more likely that they aren't white.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, I
got asked here about fish news.
I feel like the orcas was fish news.
I had some really tasty fish on Friday. Our tilapia is still doing well. Unfortunately, our ducks, they got a little bit brazen lately. I think I mentioned before, like we've got like well over 50 ducks, and now they've got this. They've started, acting like they own the place, and they've figured out how to get, like, we fixed the fence a bunch of times. We try to clip their wings when we can, but they've just figured it out. They can get out, and now they just swim around all the time in the fish ponds, and the fish ponds don't look good. And I haven't figured out how to filter it properly yet. So I'm hoping that it doesn't kill off our fish supply, but yeah, that's my fish news as of right now. I got a turf war going between the Muscovy ducks and the tilapia fish, and so I'll have to update later once I get I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a big culling of the ducks. We had duck this evening. It was so delicious, man. Oh my goodness, like Muscovy duck tastes like the best beef tenderloin you've ever had, and it's just so good. And but the problem is they're a real pain in the butt to pluck, and like one will take like 40 minutes, and so if you're going to process like 10 or 12, it's a big rigmarole. So I've been looking for a plucker, like some sort of plucking machine, and the only ones that I've seen in the country, they call them desplumadores, and they're like they're like $1,000, and I'm not there yet in my head
yeah.
to get one. I mean, I might, but we'll see. Anyways, so that's the fish news, Mr. Kill Everything. That's for you, brother.
Well, this has been
The Ricada News Network. Definitely not fake news.
and that takes care of our legal obligations this week. But you know what it doesn't take care of?
It doesn't take care of new plucking machines.
Yeah, and but also just saying thank you to all the fans. Thank you for
I'll never get that right.
We don't have a Patreon anymore. I mean, it exists, but it's not taking any money. But your support over the years, the fact you guys are still listening, that we've got people watching us doing this live with absolutely no notice. We had this planned. We didn't just like do this spur of the moment, but we did not announce it because every time we announce that El Chaco and I are doing a show together, all hell breaks loose and like it rains and he loses electricity or internet and it just becomes this whole big thing. So we decided to not do that. Which one of us is frozen? Is it me? It is El Chaco. El Chaco is frozen. Well, he'll rejoin. Actually, this is a perfect time for me because I finished my water like 10 or 15 minutes ago. So I'm gonna go retop this off, and then hopefully El Chaco will be back. And I said it. I said it on the show, and now he's been kicked off. We cursed ourselves again. So enjoy this picture of some glass art that I've made while I go get more water. All right, let's see. Is there a text message? There's a text message. He's working on trying to fix his internet. Well, that's fine. If he can't do it, I'll still do my issue because my issue is so as an update to all the listeners, we are gonna bring back the show in a limited capacity. Probably gonna be bi-weekly. Probably going to be a lot of solo episodes depending on people's schedules. I'll be inviting some of the other co-hosts, but if they can't make it and I want to do a show, I'll do it. But I'm also not going to do a show just for the sake of doing a show. I'm only going to do it if I have something that I really want to talk about. So yeah, I'm working on probably going to be like an issue. I'll do a little bit more well thought out and researched issues instead of throwing them together last second. And then a little bit of our typical news of the weird and some voicemails from you guys. We'll talk with the chat. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be something to do on evenings. So yeah, those will be coming out. We'll just keep the same numbering system, probably keep the same season of being unconsecutive, and hopefully it's still enjoyable and not too much of a ego massage for me. I am well aware that I don't want to end up like someone who buys my own hype and does silly things on stream. That would be embarrassing. But I promise you this, you'll never find me in some kind of weird polyamorous situation doing meth. I haven't even gotten around to smoking weed in 33 years. So I don't think it's coming. I don't think there's going to be a day that's going to show up where it's going to be like, smoking a joint. Why not? It's been 33 years, but why not start now? I don't think that that's going to happen. So I really find it hard to believe. I can't imagine in my head me like somehow doing coke or meth or heroin or ketamine or any of these other drugs that I don't know what they are or what they do. Like I'm very happy with my alcohol. I know what it does to my body. I know what happens when I drink too much of it. Sometimes I drink too much of it. That's a personal failing, but whatever. We all fuck up sometimes. Sometimes you spill stir fry sauce on your chest and get a terrible burn that you have to then deal with for the rest of the week, which is just embarrassing. It's not even I burn myself all the time blowing glass, but those are like cool burns. Like, yeah, I burnt my hand making this cool art. Have you become a lighter weight with the lighter weight? So the first, back in February when I was down like 40 pounds, no, I was down more than that. I was probably down 60 or 70 pounds. We're getting like a weird feedback on you now.
Oh, I'll go get some headphones. Give me a second here.
I'm going to mute you for a second then. No, people aren't seeing my chest burn. It is my shirt irritates it. So then I'm like, it's itchy. It's very annoying. But anyway, yeah. So at first I would get a buzz after like one drink, and now it's like totally reset. I'm back to the way that I used to be. So I don't think the weight had anything to do with my natural resistance. I think it was like frequent exposure and terrible, terrible genetics. So I also don't have kids, that makes it a lot easier not having kids. I have no responsibilities. If I had kids, I'd probably be a lot more responsible with a lot more of the things that I do. And I probably wouldn't even drink anymore if I had children. That would be wrong. Elon sucks. Oh, that's right. Because Chaco is supposedly on Starlink. Starlink bastards. I am responsible for the cats. That is true. All right. He's back on. He's got some headphones. All right. Welcome back to the show.
Man, oh man. My power did not go out, but irony of you just talking about our curse right as it went down. It's so ridiculous.
Cool. Well,
sorry about that.
Go ahead.
What's that?
I was going to jump into my issue.
Yeah, please do before my phone data doesn't kick in.
Well, here's what I don't get.
Ding, ding, ding.
Serving sizes. This is something that has driven me nuts for a long time, and I was going to bring this in like last year when we did the episode in November, and then my life kind of went crazy, and I brought in cowards instead. But
okay,
I am so tired of the way companies screw us out of money in small ways. This is actually twofold. So first fold is I'm tired of the way that companies screw us out of money, and specifically I'm talking about laundry detergents. So they give you these ridiculous cups. I'm sorry if you're not watching this, but this is the Woolite Dark laundry detergent that I use, and it is this massive cup. But when you read the label, it says very clearly, fill up to just under, not at the line of, but just under the number 1 line, which is like a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons of detergent when you look at it. But and so the package then says like this will do 36 loads of laundry. But what most people do is they fill that cup up to the brim and pour it in there, which is like a cup of laundry detergent. So then they don't get the full 36 loads that they think that they've paid for. And it's all just a scam so that they can make you buy laundry detergent like every week, every month, instead of having to buy only needing one like every 6 months. And it's predatory and deceptive business practices, because even if you read the instructions, it's like regular load, put it to line 1, heavy load, put it to line 2, which is only double this 2 tablespoon amount. And it's not like Woolite is alone in this. They're all doing it. Like the other detergent that I use all the time, all fill it up to just underneath line 1. Again, like 2 tablespoons, 1.5 ounces. What does the cap look like? It's massive. It's a massive cap. There's no reason to have a cap this big. You could have a little small cap that I could actually get the 54 loads or whatever's on the side of the package. I could do the OxyClean. OxyClean, the line is this one, the lowest one on this gigantic cup. It is basically no OxyClean. But most people are scooping the whole scoop in there and just burning through money for absolutely no reason. Like they could change the directions. They could put these things together to have a small cup. I remember actually in the early 2000s, they did these, it was like Tide extra concentrated ones, and it had a really small lid. And it was like, you don't need this much Tide because it's double the concentrate instead of having to do, instead of doing these giant cups. And they didn't sell well because people didn't think there was as much detergent in there. You have a laundry machine that has something around 20 gallons of water in it. You don't need that much soap. Don't overload your washing machine. Just put a normal amount of clothes in there, break up your loads, and you can use a lot less detergent and stop. Men, go find your wives right now, because I guarantee you, your wife is going in there and getting the fabric softener thing and filling up the entire lid of the fabric softener instead of the small amount of fabric softener she needs to put in there, and just throwing your money right in the trash. I'm telling you, this is what's happening. They're just, and like what's crazy is that, like they put the instructions on there. They put these lines. The lines inside these cups are basically unreadable. Like this is a black cup, and they're little like bar graph lines on the inside of it. And every time I put laundry soap in the thing, I have to hold it up to the light to try and figure out which one of these half a dozen lines are in there are the one that is the A or the B or the one, and they're all different. Every single one is different. It's like this one has 1 through 5, but it also has A, B, and C. Why are A, B, and C on this? I don't know. Instructions don't say shit about A, B, and C. This one has letters and numbers in there, and only has numbers as the directions. It's like, oh well, they just use one cap for all the different products, but all the products only need a small amount of fucking detergent in order to wash your fucking clothes. So just make a tiny fucking cap and then put on there, hey, if you have extra dirty clothes, if like you're a big dirty bastard, put 2 cups in there. And then we can put 2 cups in there instead of our wives getting in there and just pour the whole fucking bottle if you're going to. Might as well. They cost $22 a gallon. Just pour that shit in the washing machine like there's no tomorrow. It's ridiculous. My wife loads at the top. I do smaller loads. Exactly. Like, I break my clothes into, pants, undershirts, button downs, socks, and underwear. Bunch of small loads. Don't need that much laundry detergent. I do use the OxyClean for some reason. I use fabric softener for some reason. I probably don't even need that. I'm probably being scammed on this shit too. But I am so tired. I'm tired of the scoops not being the size of the fucking thing that I need. I bought this protein powder. I bought these protein powders, and they're so proud of themselves. They're like, oh yeah, we didn't put a scoop in there. Go find your own fucking scoop. Where am I going to find a fucking scoop? I got to go. I had to buy 4 scoops in order to have 1 scoop for your protein powder. Who's fucking throwing shit in the trash now?
That's like, you bring up the powders. We had this probiotic type thing, and it like came with a little spoon for it. They had 2 spoons, one for an adult size and one for a kid size, and it was like, and they actually like their legal definition of like the amount was like a smidge and like a tidge. I was like, what is this? And we lost the thing. I was like, I don't know what a tidge was. I forget how to do that. The other one is toothpaste. So like, you remember like when you're a kid and you're watching the toothpaste commercials?
Yes.
And they do this like beautiful like arc thing that like kind of swoops over the toothpaste thing. You don't need that. You need like the size of a pea, like to brush your teeth.
That is an excellent example. Yeah. The Listerine, the mouthwash. It's only like a tablespoon of Listerine, but and Listerine's real bad because depending on the size bottle you buy, the caps are different sizes. So if you get like the big industrial sized one, it is like a half a cup is what that lid is. And you're pouring that in your mouth and there's nowhere to swish around. It's like,
Well,
put
don't they have
one
like a
size.
little like inner ridge on the inside, and you're basically just to fill it to like over
Yep.
over top of that ridge?
Yeah, there's a little line inside this black plastic cup that you cannot see. And like it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling that you can sell something with a scoop this big when it needs like a 15th of this size. Like and we're shutting down companies for all kinds of stupid shit. And we can't go after the laundry. We can't go after Tide. This is why this is why I think they went after Tide Pods, right? There was all that stuff about kids eating Tide Pods to get rid of them
Oh,
because
they're
I
like
think
proper
the laundry.
portions.
What?
Yeah, they're proper portions. That's all you need.
Exactly. The laundry
Yeah.
detergent people were like, oh, we sell this thing of 45 Tide Pods, and that is 45 weeks of laundry for these people. Not
It was a dumb move on their behalf.
yeah. So then they put out all this propaganda that, oh, kids are eating Tide Pods. We gotta get rid of those Tide Pods because they were little 1.5 ounce little. Just you toss them in there, and if you have an extra soiled load, you throw 2 in. No big deal.
Right. Oh man. And then the other thing was like, I mean, it's not the same, but as I mentioned earlier in the show, I like French fries. So when we go to, sometimes when we're in town, we'll go to Burger King, and I don't like Burger King. Burger King's not good, but it's got a little playground, and my kids can play there, and it's easy for us, and we can eat quick and go. And I don't know. I guess I just felt for the marketing all these years, and I just out of natural habit, upsize my fries. Not the drink, but always the fries.
Mm-hmm.
So they introduced this. To anybody who speaks Spanish, they introduced this, which is a balde, which means like pail or bucket. And like I was just like, oh yeah, agrandar, like make it bigger. And they're like, they give me the look. And then like we get our food, and everybody in my family gets like a normal fries, and then like I've got this giant like KFC bucket of fries. This bucket of shame.
That's a good one.
It's like, and then the next time I'm like, I know, like they give you like a small, medium, and then there's a large, and then there's the bucket. And so trying to like get it right with them, like, no balde, no, I don't want the bucket of shame, please. I just want the one that's slightly older. And then I just realized like my daughter never finishes her fries, so I can just get a normal size and then
steal taxes.
Help her out.
Yeah. Well, speaking of food, so food is my second fold on this because with foods, they do this like real deceptive shit where they're like, yeah, these cookies are only 100 calories. You're like, oh, well, how? Yeah,
like
one cookie's 100 calories. There are 47 cookies in this package, and people eat them like 17 at a time.
Exactly.
They like down. They do this with sodas where it'll be like one serving is only 200 calories, but it's a 24-ounce bottle and one serving is 12 ounces. So this is actually a 500 calorie bottle right here, and some stuff is real weird. So I noticed this Gatorade Zero, the single serving of 12 ounces is 0 calories. Has no added sugars, but the 20-ounce serving, which is what is for sale in the Quick Trips, somehow has like 2 calories. Like, well, where's this calorie coming from in the other 8 ounces?
Oh, they're rounding down.
Yeah, yeah. To hide their bullshit, and so Pop-Tarts is a great example of it. Oh, Pop-Tart serving size like 100 calories, whatever a Pop-Tart is, but it's only one Pop-Tart, and no one is opening up a Pop-Tart package and setting one aside for a rainy day. They're eating both fucking Pop-Tarts, and you know that, Kellogg's.
Same as a Twix bar.
Yeah, you get to they hide, and they actually do it with candy bars too, because like a king size. Like M&M's, the share size, or the Skittles, the share size is more than one of their servings. Like, no, the package is the fucking serving. I'm buying a package to eat in the car while I'm driving. What is the package doing to me diabetes-wise? Don't try and church this up by saying that it's only like 220 calories. It's only 220 calories, but you're going to eat this whole bag, you fat bastard, and it is 660 calories, and you're going to die. You need to be on the treadmill while you're eating this so you could maybe balance this shit out.
So it's funny. It's like when you were mentioning this serving size thing, and you did tell me kind of where you were going to go with it, and my brain naturally just went towards shrinkflation. I was going to go in the other direction of like the whole thing of like, I don't know when they started not having 330 milliliters for a can of beer, and now it's like 250, and it's these little thin things, or they're messing with the sizes of the things so that you think you're getting what you got before, or even just like going back to Burger King. You know, they've got their different sizes of the sandwiches. And I used to always like the Big King because it was kind of like a Big Mac. Like it had the like Big Mac sauce, but it wasn't, you know, a Big Mac. But like it's not big. It's like small now. It's like
Mhm.
dollar value meal size. Yet like the Whopper's still huge. And I don't, I'm just not a big fan. But like it's like that you know, there is all that kind of like shrinkflation that goes on. Like the same as like I don't
Yeah.
know. Do you guys get like Cadbury cream eggs and stuff?
No,
Like
I,
those
I,
things have shrunk like half.
oh yeah, those used to be not able to fit in your mouth, and now they're like bite size, and not just because I got bigger.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A
that
great
too.
example of this last week, my coworker and I, we were out running, buying a bunch of stuff, doing end of fiscal year spending, right? And so we
Mhm.
stopped at this fast food place that's here in town. It's called Lion's Choice. It's like Arby's, but if Arby's sucked even worse, if you can imagine that in your head. And
Hey, I'm
so
an Arby's defender.
I am too. I have unfortunately been put in the position of defending Arby's because this Lion's Choice food is such dog shit. So we go through the drive-through. He wants a sandwich and fries, but not the soda. I want a sandwich, but not the fries, but I will have a Diet Coke. So he orders they have like the roast beef sandwich meal, right? Small, medium, large,
Mhm.
whatever the names are of those. He gets the medium sandwich meal with the fries and the soda, but I get a Diet Coke because I'm going to drink the soda. And then I order
Mhm.
the small sandwich. And we get back to the office and I pull them out of the bag and I can't tell which sandwich is which. One in my mind, one should be about a third larger than the other. Fortunately, we are big coffee drinkers, so we have a little coffee scale that weighs in grams. So I weigh the first
Okay.
sandwich, 200 grams. Weigh the second sandwich, also 200 grams. So either he got screwed out of an extra dollar on his sandwich, or I got extra meat or something. Something's messed up in there. But I hate the fast food stuff too, because they'll put on their menu, they're required to by the FDA to put the calories on their menus, but it'll be like somewhere between 400 calories and 27 million calories. You're going to die, you fat fatty. Because yeah, it could be, you could get away with it being only like 400 calories if you don't have a soda and you get the small fries and you get the small version of this meal. But you're probably getting the supersize me with the bucket of fries and the keg of Dr. Pepper, and you're just going to pump that into your veins and die. And like, it's so irritating because people trick themselves into thinking what they're doing is healthy, and they're not. And so the companies are trying to screw us out of our expendables with their stupid lines and their setups, and not hiding how much you actually need to wash your clothes. You got food that's pretending to be healthy when it's absolutely not, because they get to like do this little deceptive thing of saying like, oh, yeah, serving size wise, it's like only 90 calories, but in the and there is, it's on the package, right? They put a little line. It's like, here's the serving size amount, here's the actual package contents amount. But on the front of the package, where you're not reading, it says, it'll say only 100 calories per serving. Oh, that sounds great. I love M&Ms. Only 100
Well,
calories
that's the
per
thing.
serving. What's the serving? 7 M&Ms. There are 600 M&Ms in this bag. Good luck.
It's a low IQ trap because the thing is that you're clearly capable of like seeing through that bullshit. But the people that lie to themselves and say that they're you know counting calories aren't, because they're not paying attention to those serving sizes.
Yeah.
Man, I went into my office and apparently it's like making my connection sucks. So let me see. Are you kidding me? There we go. There we go. We'll just sit outside in the rocking chair. Man, oh man, Elon Elon's a dick.
Really let you down.
Elon's a dick, man. It's still not back on. Like it's my power's on, totally fine. My internet's been great all week, and then, like you said, you were just telling about the
Oh no, it's the perfect
about the
irony.
curse. It's perfect indeed, but yeah, you
Yeah.
can't picture it enough. Like you can't write that. But I'm trying to think of like other serving size like fake outs that are there.
Oh, I've got one for you. I've got another great one for you. Men's pants. Men's pants are fucked.
Okay.
I had to go through this process of buying new pants, right? But one of the things in my life that I was proud of was at one point I was a 38 and then I was a 36 for a long time. And I was like, nailed it. Right? Shaved 2 inches off. Now, number one, the 36-inch waist, not 36 inches, a lot more than that. I don't think I'm a 32-inch waist, despite that being what these pants say. But then I was going through, so I got rid of, I shit you not, 50 pairs of pants this year. Because I would buy pants every few months. I would buy like just the same style pants. But
yeah,
I
hate
hate doing.
buying pants. So I've got the same pants as like 2
Yeah.
years ago.
So I would just buy the same brand, the same size, and because they would tear, mess up. So I had a lot of pants, so I didn't have to do laundry very frequently, right? So I was and I kept all the old 38s. They were like up on a shelf, just waiting to be gotten rid of, basically. And so I was processing through all these old pants, and I had the 36 sitting on top of the 38s, and they're the same fucking size. They're the same fucking size. But it made me feel good to think that I was buying 36s. Yeah, but I was not. They're the same fucking size. They were fucking with me. And
See,
I like I
but
said, I don't think that these are 32 jeans. I don't think that these are probably actually a 34. Would be my guess. My guess is they're rounding down to make you think that you are not as fat as you are, so you don't feel bad and you don't stop eating all of the fucking terrible food.
see, I'm the opposite, right? Because I used to like Maddox. I used to bike all the time. I used to bike all over the place. And you know, the thing is that like I got these big tree trunk legs, and they never they never seem to you know, it doesn't matter if I lost a bunch of weight, it would just stay in my legs. And so what I would end up having to do is I would end up having to buy pants with a much larger waist than I actually have, just so I could fit my legs into the pant legs. And that's why I got used to those like the grip 6 belt that I recommended to you before. Because it's great because it doesn't have any holes. You just like pull it, cinch it right in, and I still have that problem. That's why I hate buying pants. And then down here, it's even worse because Paraguay brings in clothing from wherever it can get it from. Like it makes some here, and it gets some from outside, and gets some from China, and it gets some from the U.S., which gets it from China. And then basically, all the measurements are all whacked out. So like you'll look at them and you're like, 54, what the hell are you talking about? And then you like, my son won't fit them, and I'm like, what is this in like millimeters? Like I don't understand what the size is, and so it makes it even more complicated to try to get it because nothing is accurate. Like you just throw on whatever tag that they want, and then you're basically stuck with what you get. So you if I have to go get pants, I gotta like book a day off just to like pull like 18 different pairs of pants in there just to make sure to see if they'll fit or not. And yeah, I hate pants shopping so much. I gotta bring that in as a future don't kid pants.
Yeah, I'm all with you. I've now switched over to Levi's. I've been wearing exclusively Levi's for the last few months because I found ones that fit well enough. Levi's 505s, and I've just started the same process again. Every couple months, I throw a couple pairs in my my Amazon order for the month, and boom, now I've got another couple of pairs of pants.
When you find the thing that works for you, it's the best. Like I found my favorite underwear, and I just like, you know, I bought like 14 pairs just to completely eliminate the possibility of running out, and then um, I could do the same for socks. I haven't done that in a while, but I should probably do the same for
Oh yeah,
socks. But
I have
yeah, I'm
hundreds of
trying to
pairs
think
of
of like
socks.
other, like serving sizes, man. Like you could go down a whole bunch of different things, like airplane legroom and stuff like that. That's like shrinking in socks and isn't suitable for a regular person. But yeah, man, good issue because the thing is like there's some grade A fuckery going on with a lot of those lines and measurements and all that kind of stuff like that. I stopped looking at serving sizes like a long time ago because it was just like pointless. It was
Yeah,
just completely pointless.
I had 54
Generally, way I
pairs of
look at it
underwear
is, okay, am I
before I started
comfy at
losing
this
weight.
hotel? What's that?
I had 54 pairs of underwear
Yeah,
before I started losing weight.
54.
Yeah, I
Wow.
counted. I counted. I knew I had written it down somewhere because, like I said, well, so part of it was that I was working so much that sometimes I would only get to do laundry once a month. So you just
There you
like you
go.
get
There
one
you go.
day, and it would just be like I got to wash everything. So by having 30 pairs of pants and 50 plus t-shirts and 40 plus button down shirts, like I had a tremendous amount of clothes so that I could go weeks at a time without needing to do laundry. And now I have far less,
Well,
but
and
I'm building back up.
and there's always that. There's also the here's what I don't get lore of apparently every host at one point or another has to piss themselves, right? Isn't that the
uh
gimmick that somebody has to pee their pants?
I don't think so. I know we were pissing in
Well,
movie theaters.
what was that? Oh,
This
that's what it was. It was
Yeah,
pissing. But didn't Tony pee himself or something like that? Oh no,
that sounds about
maybe I
right.
got that
Yeah,
wrong.
that guy's an embarrassment. That's why he
Yeah.
hasn't lost any weight. Anyway,
Well, yeah, man, good one.
thank you.
Good
Yeah,
topic.
it's been really bothering me for months now. I'm
I'm
glad to
glad,
finally get
I'm
that
glad I
off
was
my
able to
chest.
use my LTE connection to get back on here.
Well, this has been Here's What I Don't Get.
You
I'm
guys got.
Ted Burt.
I'm El Chaco.
We'll catch you guys next time.
Ciao, ciao.
If you want to call them the Here's What I Don't Get hotline, call us at 704-750-9434 and tell us what you don't get. Or you can leave us a voicemail in the Discord under voicemail upload. We actually do have a bunch of voicemails. I think they're mostly from Dead Helm.
Okay.
So here we go.
Hey guys, Dead Helm here. Here's what I don't get. Night shift people. Since you guys ended the show, I, lost that little part of me that was still, a little bit of a child, because I've been listening to you guys since I was in high school. I decided to get a big kid job and work for a major corporation whose name I cannot mention for legal reasons. But I work night shift. And, most of the night shift people, I swear to God, are in their fucking 60s and work harder than I do. I don't fucking get it. And then you go and hang out with people outside of work, and excuse me, we normally get home 5, 6 a.m. ending the shift, and they're like, "Hey, you want to go hang out at noon tomorrow?" No, not really. I'd like to fucking be asleep for at least 6 hours. Stay serious.
Yeah, night shift sucks.
Have you ever worked? Have you ever worked a night shift?
I haven't had a job that worked night shift, but I have had jobs where we worked overnight. As stagehand, we would do loadouts that would last overnight pretty frequently.
Those aren't fun. Yeah.
No.
When I was in high school, no, I don't. I think it was like between grade 11 and grade 12. My uncle owned a major like electrician firm, and there was this department store chain in Canada called Eaton's, and before it went under, they would like during the like off season for the electrician firm, when because they used to do a bunch of stuff
Oh God. They got him again. They got him again. Elon, he talked too much shit about Elon. Now he's been banned from the internet completely. Poor guy.
No, that's not true. That's
Oh,
not true. I'm still here. I'm still here. Let's see here. Where am I at? Which one are you in? There we go. Okay. Yeah. Apparently Elon came back on, but it's weak and I'm away from the house, so I'm just gonna finish the show here. Yeah. So so anyway, so what they would do is they would take when there was like a little bit of time off in the summer, they would take these jobs where they would go into all these department stores, and then when they were closed in the middle of the night, they would proceed to replace every single like ballast and tube in all the lights. And so that was our job. So I went and I worked this job, and he told me ahead of time, I was like, it's a night shift, and do what you can. And I tried so hard, but I only lasted a week because the thing is like I was away from home. I had to share a motel room with this like the gigantic guy who snored, and and like about 4 or 5 days in, I was just caving out. But like they would lock us in because they didn't want us to steal anything overnight, right? And man, oh man, I hated that job so much because it was like I'd go back to the motel and we try to sleep at night, and then I hear all these like people having fun like in the pool and like enjoying their summer, and here I was like making like $11 an hour or something like that, and I was like, which was good at the time, and I was like, I even with the pay, I can't do this, and I ended up quitting, and my uncle lost respect for me and all that kind of stuff. It was the worst, and since then I will never take another night shift job ever again because it's not good for you. It's not healthy. But
no, it's against our
it's
against our circadian rhythms. We don't belong there.
Absolutely.
There's another one.
Yeah, I don't get how fucking pizza retains so much heat for so fucking long. I just took out this little personal pan pizza from my oven, sit in my cold ass apartment for like 10 minutes, and I take a bite, and it burns the fucking roof of my mouth. It's a fucking it's a scientific anomaly that needs to be investigated by our top scientists. I don't fucking get it.
Yeah, the only thing that can defeat entropy is take and bake micro or microwavable pizzas.
Well, do you guys get like pizza pops? Those things were like nuclear hot too. Remember
Like Totino's pizza rolls? Is that what you're talking about? Like the little packets of
basically, yeah. Ours were like Pillsbury pizza pops, and they were just like lava in dough.
Yeah.
They were so hot.
Yeah, I would like bite the little pouch open and then let it sit and cool off a little bit before.
Wait, did you warm them in the plastic?
No, I'm talking about. So it was like a little.
Oh, the pouch.
I would bite through the pocket of into the filling.
Let it steam off. Got it.
Yeah, because that would like liquefy the entire inside of your mouth would just be like a 3rd-degree burn in an instant.
Like mine is now from the collagen bone broth I had this afternoon.
Here's another one from Dead Home.
Hey guys, Dead Home here.
Go ahead.
No, I was just asking if there's others.
Here's what I don't get. Shitty internet. So, I live in a small town about 20 minutes from Fort Worth, and they just put fiber internet in less than a mile from my house. And they're now building a fucking junior high school about a quarter mile from my house. But they're like, no, we are not going to put fiber internet out there for at least another 2 years. Oh. I've been living in this fucking small town for fucking years. And internet has gotten, it's not even gotten better. It's gotten worse, actually.
Yeah,
like, I'm just trying to play Baldur's Gate 3. I finally fucking have a little bit of time. 1 gigabyte update. What the fuck? That's gonna take me 12 fucking hours to update. Fucking, just fucking. Stay period.
Yeah, I have a
I
coworker.
know nothing about that topic. I have nothing to relate to that at all.
I have a coworker who
I
pays for
was
like
told.
he pays for the
Go ahead.
cheapest internet that he possibly can. And so whenever he has big updates for his video games, he brings his console in and hooks it in his office, and then just like lets it run the updates while he's at work, and then takes it back home to play. And I was like, just pay for better internet, man. It costs like nothing. And here it costs nothing.
I have a phone with 2 SIM card slots, and I have 2 different companies that I put in my phone. One is better for phone calls, and one is better for internet. The one that's better for phone calls, I just throw on an extra 2 gigabytes of data just as a, if the other one goes down. I got like, I don't know, 30 or 40 on the other one for times like this. And when the power goes out, so Tigo is the one that I'm on right now. When the power goes out, if it goes out for the whole region, then they have like these UPS like power supplies, uninterrupted power supplies on them, which last about 3 or 4 hours for their battery backup on the towers. But then like once it goes, then it's the only one I have left is Claro, and I go from LTE because we don't get, we get LTE or
Mhm.
4G, and I have broadcast with you on both. Neither of them are good, and but they're a means to an end. I have had to hotspot my internet so many times, and I've got, like, we had the rural internet, we had Distech, and Distech, I still have the tower on my property, and it bounces and relays the signals. Basically, it's kind of like a gray market kind of. It buys excess data from the phone companies and then kind of puts it all together and spits it out. But the internet was so shit when I was using that, so I had it. I got Elon, I got the Starlink, which, dude, I haven't had any problems with it until tonight.
Of course not.
Like, it's
Yeah.
been
Had to mention
fine.
it.
I had I have a really good UPS on. I walked into the house. I was like looking at my wife. I'm like, did the internet just go out on you? She's like, yeah, of course it did. Yeah, and I was like, yeah, what happened? She goes, I didn't touch anything. And then like I went to go and check, and it's like it's searching and connecting. I'm like, what are you doing, Elon? Like, how did you lose the satellite? Like, did something
Yeah.
go on? Did we get an EMP attack that we missed out on or something? Just ridiculous. So here I am freezing my butt off out here
Because it's
the only
winter
way to
down
get
there.
the connection. Oh, dude, yeah, yeah. And winter down here sucks. Winter down here, nothing gets warm, like, because none of the houses are built to retain heat. So picture going camping like in the fall, and like it always feeling like the morning and the evening of camping. That's basically what it always feels like. It's damp, it's cold, it goes right through you. You can't get warm. Like, as once I go into later tonight, like I've got these, we've got like a mountain of blankets on the bed to try to keep warm at the middle of the night. I might even keep this toque on, Tim Pool style through the night because it is so cold.
That is
right now.
definitely fall
I don't
camping.
know how to do Fahrenheit. I never figured it out, but it was like 4 degrees Celsius today, and I'll take minus 20 in Calgary over 4 degrees Celsius in Paraguay, because it just, like, at least I can go inside and get warm in Calgary. Here, you just never get warm. It's just, you're always cold. And I can't wait till the sun comes back. And then once the sun comes back, I'll bitch about how hot it is again.
Well, we just have a few more.
Instead of here's what I don't get: Texas drivers. When I first moved here, I really only stayed in the boonies where I live, and I'm like, oh, people are nice, they wave at you and all this, right? And now that I'm kind of getting out of my comfort zone, and I don't work in my town, I fucking hate Texas drivers. They will do fucking 50 in the slow lane, and then they'll do 100 in the fast lane. I don't mind the people doing 100 in the fast lane, but fuck, stop. Okay. So I just had some fucking VW SUV fucking cut me off with his brights on and almost swerve and hit me on a 4-lane highway. Like, why? Why do you need to fucking do that? Like, just chill. I'm driving like an asshole. I'm doing 90 miles an hour because I don't give a fuck. I have fucking radar, all right? If a cop, I fucking see a cop, I'm going down. Like, it's not that hard. But this guy fucking almost killed me, and fuck. I'm curious.
No pity.
No.
That's a million times better than driving down here.
Oh yeah, you've been talking about sharing some of your dash cam footage of people driving like insane assholes down there.
They are the worst, man. And like, I have to drive 2 hours to go to Asuncion. I have to go through 4 or 5 different towns before I get through there. So I get like these little bursts of highway, which are great. And they trying to update them. They put in like traffic circles instead of like lights and stuff like that. But nobody here knows how to use a traffic circle. So it's like you're rolling the dice every time you go in. And like the thing that I hate about driving, maybe this is what Dead Helm has to go through in Texas, but the brain exhaustion from driving here is it's just constant data analysis of like the people going fast, the people going slow, the buses, the motorcycles, the potholes, the people who don't look before they come onto the lane, the people who cut you off, the crazy pedestrians. Like, I mean, it is so mentally tiring every single time because like I'm watching for other cars, and basically the way to drive down here is you have to assume everybody else is retarded and drive as such, and that's the only way. And I actually, like, I brought it into confession because like I swear in front of my children because of drivers more than anything else. Like, it's like it just comes out of me, like, fucking asshole. Like, I have to like I bring it into confession. I'm like, I shouldn't be doing that in front of my kids. And my priest this time around, he's like, okay, listen, I'm going to tell you something. People here are stupid when they're driving. They're never going to get better. And so you have to accept that. You just have to acknowledge that. If you need to, just pull over and calm down, and that'll be the way to go, because you're never going to fix it. It'll never get better, and you're just going to have to get used to it. It's like, okay, Father, yeah, that makes more sense now.
Yeah. Sounds like some
How's
theater
driving
groups.
in St. Louis?
Oh, St. Louis is the Wild West. It's insane. I mean, it's probably not as bad as you are, but it's. I mean, red lights are kind of a suggestion. Potholes, turn signals don't exist. Speed limits, there's no speed limits. Police don't enforce traffic laws inside the city. If you're inside the city, basically do whatever you want. They don't care. Yeah.
See, we have traffic cops here, but they don't. They're not like driving. You don't have to worry about it. They're always in the same spot. And every time you go through there, it's just a net. It's just a net for bribes. Like, so you drive through this one spot every single time, and they just randomly flag you over. But I get extra randomly flagged over all the time because I don't look the part. And
you need
what
a
they'll
fake
do is they'll
mustache
just try
you
to
can put
find
on.
something. I tried to throw on sunglasses, going with my extra tan and doing everything like that. It doesn't work. And like, and the lady who pulls us over all the time is this portly lady, and actually there was a story that came out recently of an American who reported a police officer, because the thing is they'll try to give you they'll stop you, mark you for an infraction, and you're like, okay, give me the ticket so I can go, and they never give you a ticket. They're always waiting for the bribe. You could be like, dude, I need the ticket, I gotta go. And they don't care if you don't have cash. It's like a total heist. It's like, oh, then I'll walk you to a cash machine. And that's what happened with this American, is that this cop walked him to the cash machine, even though he's got him on recording of denying him actually giving him a ticket. And so finally this cop actually got fired and like got dragged for it. Thank goodness. But
Nice.
like when I went, they stopped me. My headlights were working. A lot of times it's like one of my headlights was out. They stopped me every time. Or I didn't have the right lights on. One time they stopped me, and my headlight was out, and I was like, okay, give me the ticket for that. And then she's like, do you have car insurance? And I was like, no, I don't have car insurance. And she's like, well, it's the law. And I'm like, when did that start? It's never been the law here. Like, when did that start? She goes, last week. I'm like, can you show me a link? Can you show me a link? I never heard anything about that. I was like, I'll call my lawyer and ask him right now. And then, like, while we're talking, my son unbuckles his seat. We're pulled over. My son unbuckles his seat to come up to the front to, like, kind of like, what's going on? And then she's like, oh, and your kids are unbuckled too. So that's another ticket. I'm like, oh, give me a break. Like, just give me a break. So then the same lady got me again. And my headlights were working. And I still didn't have driver's insurance. But I was like, yeah, I got, here you go. Here's this. And then and then it's law here. You have to have a reflective triangle. So if you're pulled over the side of the road, you have to put that behind. And then you also have to have a fire extinguisher because, well, the cars are not well maintained and they kind of catch fire a lot. And I had a fire extinguisher, but for whatever reason, I moved it over to my truck and I didn't move it back into my van. So she hits me with a fine there. It was like $100, which is, not much, but like a new fire extinguisher down here is like maybe like $40 US. And like I said to the guy, I'm like, just print me the ticket. And then he does this like ticky tack around. Like, I don't know. Have you ever seen, you've seen the Truman Show, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've seen the Truman Show. So you remember that scene where he tries to get on the bus and then the bus driver is just like, grinding the gears until he's like, sorry. It's like that. The guy was doing the exact same thing, but like with his printer and like showing me, and it's like, well, you can just give me cash and we'll make sure it doesn't happen again. It's like, man, I don't want to give you cash. It doesn't help anybody. You're just ticky tacking me on this stuff. Like, give me the ticket and I'll go. But yeah, no, you can't get a ticket down here. They just get you.
So what stops you from just driving away then? If you're not going to give me the ticket, then I'm out of here.
Oh, then they'll chase me down and like full blown arrest me. So no. You know what I figured out though? So I have the dash cam, like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So what I figured out was, when they stop me, there's a button on there for the microphone to record. And so what I do is I say, oh, hang on 1 second. Let me record this. And I hit the button and then I say, okay, tell me what I did. And then when they tell me, I'm like, oh, well, my lawyer told me that's not the case. Why don't I call him right now? And then last time I did that, he's like, nah, just a warning, go on through. And I didn't have to give a bribe or nothing.
Very nice.
Yeah,
very nice.
yeah, so,
well done.
Yeah.
Play the
so
system.
That's the new way.
Better than Texas.
Are there any more?
Yeah, we got 3 more.
Hey, well, I won't tell you what I don't get, because what I do get is you guys coming back. I just wanted to say thank you for the latest shows. Leave your voicemail to say that and to show still interested in the show. Like, well done. Great shows. Glad you're back. I'm glad hopefully there'll be more. And thank you.
Yeah. These are like months of voicemails. These go all the way back to March. So,
Okay.
yeah, no problem. We're glad to be here.
Yeah, we'll try to do more.
Got 2 more from Dead Helm.
Hey, Dead Helm, I guess. There's no intro for the voicemail now. Here's what I don't get. Smooth brains, I don't understand that they have their daytime running lights on. There's currently a really bad thunderstorm and possible chance of tornadoes. Not a big deal. What is a big deal is the fact that people are driving around in their brand new cars and don't know the difference between having their lights on and having their daytime running lights on. Having your daytime running lights on only provides a little bit of light, and it does not turn on your rear brake lights. So, if you turn on your actual running light, this is crazy. So, bear with me, right? It actually turns on your rear brake lights, and you'll be able to see without turning on your brights. I'm stuck behind a brand new Jeep Wagoneer with the paper plate still on the fucking vehicle. And they do not know that they have the daytime running lights on. I don't understand why it's a difficult concept. The daytime running light logo and the actual running light logo look completely different. I don't know why. It must be a Texan thing to be fucking have a smooth brain. But God help them, and stay serious.
I have to admit to being the problem on this one at one point in time in my life. We rented a car once to drive to Iowa and back, and we left Oklahoma at like 4 a.m, something, middle of the night. And we rented this like Ford car, and there's these lights in the footwells that were just distracting. And so we're like hitting all the knobs in this rental car trying to turn these lights in the footwells off. Finally get the lights in the footwells turned off. So we can drive in darkness. Drive all the way to Iowa, drive all the way back. We're almost back to Oklahoma. We are like less than 2 hours from our final destination. And I keep getting people flashing their brights at me and tell me my headlights aren't on. I'm like, and I can see, we have been driving at night. There are headlights on.
Mhm.
Turns out the daytime running lights just turn the headlights on, but not the tail lights. And the only indication in the car is there was like this little picture in the dash, and with the lights on, there was like a little halo around them, and with the lights not on, there was not the little halo around them. And we had no idea. We had driven that car all day. So I have been, in my defense, rental car, not the car that I own. But
yeah, like going back to the headlights in Paraguay thing. So I was told by people, like, you can have, if one of your lights is not working, you can, what they call the luz bajo, like the lower lights. And so it's just those like little lights above your headlights. And during the day, you're fine with that. And then I had paid somebody to replace my lights, because like going into a place and figuring out what light to get, like it's not like back home. I can't just like do it. So I paid a guy, and he got me the wrong light, which had the wrong connection on it, so it wasn't grounded right, and it was like it shorted out. So sometimes they would both work, and sometimes only one would work, or sometimes none of them would work. And so every time I'd have to go past that trap with the fat lady that would always like hit me up for a bribe, what we would do, the only way I knew it would work is to throw on my brights. And so it felt weird. I hated doing it, but there'd be times where I was like, I'm driving on the highway, I'm just gonna have my brights on behind people literally the whole time. And I finally got that figured out, but man, it sucked, because like, I was trying to do it right, but I couldn't even pay somebody to fix it. And I finally got that sorted. But yeah, no, man, lights on cars. At least I had them, because like down here, what ends up happening sometimes is like if you're driving at night, it's scary, because there's a bunch of motorcycles, like the most rundown, crappy motorcycles, and there'll be people on these motorcycles and they have no lights. And so you can't see them until they're right in front of you.
Yeah.
Or there'll be like somebody on the back, like holding on, and they've got their like phone flashlight in front dangling to like, give somebody a signal. It's crazy.
That's crazy. All right, 2 more.
Hey Tab, you know who this is. Just responding to your short show about whether you should do a solo show, I'd say yes. Hell yeah, man. You were always the best thing about the show, apart from when you banned me under false pretenses from playing my voicemails. But I know you hear it anyway. Do the show. You're not egotistical. You just want to be heard. And you know what? Most of the time, everything you've got to say, I really think is worth listening to. Do a solo show. Stick to some points, I'd say. Maybe have 3 or 4 points that you're going to go through. And then a bit of news, a bit of voicemail, maybe like a guest co-host. Sounds fucking awesome, man. Do that. I will listen. If it doesn't work out, fine. But I think it will. I think you can really put out something that's really, really worth listening to. And yeah, and you can vent in a way that you wouldn't be able to do maybe IRL. And I think it'll be good. I've missed it. I think more power to you in whatever you do. And God bless you, man. Bye.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Definitely going to be coming back, just non-consecutively.
Well, I agree. Like, I like the idea of you doing it. And I mean, some of the other guys will be available again at some point in time.
Yeah.
Tony doesn't seem to want to respond, but Tim, when he's back on track, and Buck's doing his thing, and he'll, like, you never know what the future holds. And then as long as we don't schedule it.
Yeah, and we don't mention it on the show ever.
Yeah, like I love doing it. I'm glad you asked. You know, little inside baseball, but like, you know, I also just love hanging out with Tab. And after the show usually ends, we sometimes talk for a couple hours at a time.
Yeah.
And it's a good way to catch up and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm all for more episodes. And if I'm available and you want me to come and join you, you know, I'll be more than happy.
Yeah. One last one. We'll end with who we started with, Dead Helm.
Okay, voicemail preload didn't work this time. Update that Jeep I was behind does not have a paper plate. So you've had the car long enough to get it registered, which takes about a month in the state of Texas because fuck you, that's why. And for you to get your physical plate rather than just a cheap paper plate. And you've had the car long enough, you should know how the fucking car works. As my father, rest in peace, even though he's not dead, has said to me a lot of times growing up, because I am a fool, RTSM, which stands for read the fucking manual.
Yeah.
The driver's manual is oftentimes in newer cars automatically in the touchscreen. Go through the fucking manual. It's not that goddamn hard. Stay serious.
Yeah. Here in St. Louis, a paper plate is good for like 5 or 10 years. You know, you just never register your car, and no one cares.
Here you'll see them occasionally. They've been cracking down on it more. Like when we first moved down here, they had what was called the Cedula Verde and a Cedula Marron. So it's like a brown certificate and a green certificate. The green one you can actually go internationally. The brown one's supposed to be temporary, but most of the time people don't actually renew it or do anything with it. So when you're buying a vehicle, it's weird. Like back home, when you get a license, it's like for you. And then if you get like a new car, you have to get it re-registered, and then you get a new license plate for you. You don't get to keep the person's license plate from before. Whereas here, if you buy a vehicle, it's got a license plate for life. Like you're never getting a new license plate for it. So what they also did is they recently updated like how many letters are on it, because it used to be like the 3 letters and then you're kidding. Did it go again?
Are you
still there?
No, you're still here.
Okay, but you're not. There you are. Okay. And so like because they started it over again, like all the new plates are like A something, and so it's always like AG or AK. So we've been laughing at those. It never gets old.
Yeah. You guys have the big, like long rectangular plates.
Yes, they do. Yeah, it's like 4 or 5 letters and then like 3 numbers after it. It's So
cool. Well, that's it. Those are our voicemails.
I'm glad you guys this has been cool. I'm enjoying the fact that so many people have been able to join us and stay with us through the whole stream, and it's good to be back. And I'm probably going to have you on to my show again here pretty soon, but I'm kind of figuring out what I'm going to do with it. I'm probably going to label it as season 2, because there's been enough of a backlog. And after the YouTube strike, it's like, you know, like I probably just want to do something different with it, and I'm trying to figure out what that is. And
in a couple weeks, I'll be on WATP June 8th. So join us for that show over on Carl's YouTube station.
Yeah.
Do
you know what you're covering?
No idea. I'm sure he'll let me know like 3 days beforehand, like he usually does. But you know, we'll see. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun time. I'll try to drink 37.
If you want to do another show in the next couple of weeks, let me know and we'll jump on.
Yeah, my summer is almost wide open. It's kind of great.
Are anybody, just to put it up to the people in the chat, is anybody ever available for these like earlier in the day? Like, because if ever like Tab's got like a full day off and I've got a flexible schedule, I'd be more than happy to do one like midday or
4 in
something.
the afternoon instead of, I'd be totally for that.
Yeah. So, all right, cool.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us for this.
Thanks for your patience, everybody.
Yeah. And you know, we'll be back again. No, same bat channel, different bat time.
We'll see. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for supporting the show. Thanks for sticking with us, and we'll see you soon.
Ciao, ciao, everyone.